Good afternoon, I'm Chris Snatchkate. Welcome to APTN National News. The Assembly of First Nations Special Chiefs meeting is continuing today in Ottawa. APTN's Métis National host Kim Sullivan is on the scene there for day 2, and she joins us now to tell us what she's heard so far at today's meeting. Kim, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us what has happened so far on day 2 of the Assembly?
It was a very emotional start to the morning, Creason. It was very serious and sensitive topics. We talked about human trafficking, about gender-based violence and sexual assault. As we know, these are core to the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirited peoples. We know also that nationally, these individuals are representing a bigger portion, a disproportionate portion of the sexually exploited victims. And one of the points they were bringing up today is that one of the reasons behind it is the fact that, among others, there's more homelessness among that population, more unemployment, higher rates of arrest, and higher rates of individuals that went through child protection, which is also going to be two topics at the core of the discussion this afternoon as we tackle policing and the long-term reform of child and family services.
And Kim, what have you heard about any real solutions to those issues?
Well, when the chiefs and members actually spoke today, the words that came up, the terms that came up were things like no barrier exit strategies and Indigenous-led approaches and Indigenous governing, which are all words that have been part of the discussion for the past 20 years. So it's not new. It's really terms that we want to put into practice. And many are asking, why is this not happening yet? And it was very interesting because there was a speaker this morning. He is the founder of Not in My City initiative. He shared his favorite quote, which is, when do we plant a tree? I'll answer 20 years ago, but the second best answer is now. And I think that actually planted the seed this morning in many's mind that change can start now and that we are the factor of change. So left to be seen if it's going to happen.
We'll have to leave it there. That's Kim Sullivan with Métis National reporting live from the AFN Special Chiefs Assembly at the Rogers Centre in Ottawa. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
The 2 remaining members of the Métis National Council say they will carry on despite Métis Nation British Columbia pulling out of the organization last weekend. The Métis Nation of Ontario and Métis Nation Alberta are all that's left of the 40-year-old organization that is also currently leaderless. MNBC said the structure of the national body was no longer equitable, something the remaining members of MNC dispute. In a statement released by the MNC on Wednesday, Métis Nation of Ontario President Margaret Froh wrote, "Assertions that MNC is undemocratic or inequitable are both untrue and unjustified." The statement goes on to say the Métis National Council remains steadfast in its commitment to advancing the priorities of its member Métis governments and their citizens. The MNC will continue advocating for the shared priorities of its member Métis governments. We'll bring you more updates on this as they become available. 2 people have died, including a teenage girl, following a house fire in a northern First Nation in Saskatchewan. On Tuesday at around 5:30 a.m., La Loche RCMP received a report of a house fire in the Clearwater River Dene Nation. A teenage girl was taken to hospital but later died. Another person who has yet to be identified was found dead inside the home. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency is now investigating the cause of the fire. Meanwhile, Chief Teddy Clark said the First Nation is organizing a crisis team to support the community and families involved. Clearwater River Dene Nation is located about 600 kilometers northwest of Saskatoon. RCMP in southern Saskatchewan are investigating after a man was found dead on the White Bear First Nation early Tuesday morning. At around 2:30 a.m. on Tuesday, Carlisle RCMP received a report of an injured person at a residence in White Bear. When officers arrived, they found the body of a 33-year-old man from the town of Cornack. Saskatchewan RCMP Major Crimes is now investigating and deeming the deaths as suspicious. RCMP says there will be an increased police presence in White Bear this week. Anyone with information on the death is asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. White Bear First Nation is located about 200 kilometers southeast of Regina. It has been a deadly couple of days in Manitoba this week. The RCMP and Winnipeg Police Service have released reports of 5 deaths in Manitoba in the past 24 hours. With more, here's Sierra Bettens.
On November 30th, the Chinupawakpa detachment of the Manitoba First Nations Police Service located the body of a 37-year-old male from a request for a wellness check. On December 1st at 10:30 p.m., Portage La Prairie RCMP located a 42-year-old male and 37-year-old female deceased. On December 2nd at 1 p.m., Thompson RCMP were called to a report of a stabbing. A 31-year-old male was transported to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. In the evening of December 2nd, Winnipeg police located a female in her 20s at the 200 block of Furby Street with serious injuries. The female died after being taken to hospital. Another female in her 20s was charged with robbery and second-degree murder.
RCMP in Laurent, Saskatchewan are asking the public's help in finding a man who they say stole a vehicle at gunpoint. On Saturday, November 23rd at around 7 p.m., Laurent RCMP received a report of a robbery on Studer Street in Laurent. RCMP say a man stole a vehicle from a group of people at gunpoint. No physical injuries were reported and the vehicle has since been recovered. RCMP are now looking for 24-year-old Wayne McLeod from Laurent. He's been charged with theft, robbery, and a firearm and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. If you see him, do not approach him. Instead, contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. To the east now, where the New Brunswick Child, Youth and Seniors Advocate says the province has done little to nothing on recommendations to improve mental health of First Nations youth. Here is CTV's Nick Moore now on what the advocate says has to happen.
Working with what has been a real epidemic.
No Child Left Behind is a report from 2021 meant to improve youth mental health in First Nations across New Brunswick.
This was our opportunity to come back and 3 years after the fact say, so what has happened on the First Nations mental health file?
According to Child, Youth and Seniors Advocate Kelly Lamrock, the answer to that is pretty much nothing.
There has not been a lot of progress on the file. The crisis is real and the response at this point, to be blunt, has been profoundly underwhelming.
The 2021 report calls for a tailored approach to the mental health of First Nations youth with greater transparency on provincial spending for mental health as it relates to First Nations youth.
That's the accountability that is needed. It's not just currently, but in the past as well. Because our money, our share of those monies, have not been spent for our people. And that's not right.
I can tell you that anybody who thinks this, you can simply attack this problem by saying take the strategy for the whole province and add Aboriginal people, probably has not reflected long enough on the very unique causes and the very unique challenges in a lot of First Nations communities.
First Nations Advisory Council Chair Roxanne Sapierre says she hopes a change in the provincial government will result in action.
We're missing generations of people that could be serviced and made to have a brighter future in this province, that they belong to, that this is their homeland to.
A statement today from the provincial government said different projects are underway, but did not make any commitment to the line budget recommendation. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
A strange smell in a slough where fish call home in BC is causing concern for one Indigenous community. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Two First Nations in the Fraser Valley are sounding the alarm over a spill that they say is toxic. For the second time in recent months, a mysterious discharge is flowing into a Chilliwack waterway. As CTV's Craig Krause reports, the First Nations are calling on the province to help solve the issue as they work to clean up the mess.
Well, here we are with this channel flowing into the Hope Slough here.
A waterway that the Siam and Squaw First Nations say was once clear and thriving.
And the stench was so powerful, so strong, you could smell it from over there.
You can see in this recent video provided by the Siam First Nation a white substance coming through a nearby pipe and spreading into the Hope Slough.
You can see the different color of the bubbles there.
Forcing the two Chilliwack area First Nations to plead for help from all levels of government for the second time in as many months.
In order to have success in this work to protect this waterway, we need buy-in from all agencies. We need support and action.
In an email to CTV News, the Ministry of Environment and Parks said emergency officers responded to the area on September 23rd to the initial report of dead fish in a spill. An inspection commenced with several local and regional agencies. And then they say the following week, water quality had returned to normal and there was no risk to drinking water. But the source of the spill remains unclear. As for this recent potential spill, the province says it is aware and is following up, but hasn't received any reports of dead fish until Monday.
So what we just discovered is a dead salmon that's pre-spawn. This is possible evidence of fish mortality from this spill.
A concerning discovery, as the two First Nations have been pouring in thousands of dollars to clean up the area as part of their multi-million-dollar project to revitalize the Hope Slough, a project they say needs collaboration.
To make sure that we stop the pollution that is going into this waterway here.
And in the meantime, Siam and Squaw First Nation sent a sample of the water from here to a lab for testing, and they expect to have those results back within the next 3 weeks. Craig Krause, CTV News, Chilliwack.
This next story is about a grandmother who has endured a lot of challenges to overcome many obstacles and follow her dreams to become a lawyer. APTN's Tina House has this story from Vancouver.
After 8 years in school, it's an exciting day for Mavis Benson as she officially graduates from law school and is getting called to the bar.
Mavis Benson.
Mavis has come a long way to reach this goal, with the odds stacked up against her. Originally from the Cheslata First Nation in northern BC, Mavis and both her parents all went to residential school, and growing up for her wasn't easy.
Every time I thought of quitting, every time I was so exhausted that I couldn't even do it anymore. I couldn't even I couldn't read another sentence. I couldn't study anymore. I always thought, my kids are looking at me, my children are looking at me, the community is looking at me, and I can't quit.
And for over 10 years, Mavis has been the voice for her daughter, Faith Alexis, who has been lost to drug addiction and mental illness. In 2020, we brought you a feature story on Faith and Mavis's fight to get her daughter into treatment. Faith Rose Alexis was born on March the 8th, 1982, in Bella Coola, BC. Her mother, Mavis Benson, was just 16 years old at the time.
Being really young and naive, I just didn't know what I was in for.
Faith grew up and had 4 kids of her own, but after her addictions got really bad, Mavis took custody of her grandkids, but has never turned her back on Faith, spending hours walking the streets looking for her daughter and never giving up hope.
Hi, Faith.
Hi. Mom, is that you?
Yes.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
I just feel like she's dead inside. When I go see her and I talk to her, she's just absolutely dead. It's not the Faith that I knew, it's not the Faith that I raised.
And now, 4 years after that story aired, Today, Mavis is surrounded by her family and friends, including Chief of the Cheslata First Nation, Chief Karina Leween, and 2 of her council members, as they proudly leave the ceremony at the courthouse.
Well, Mavis is an example of a lot of hard work and determination, sacrifice, all the things that it took her to get to where she is. For anybody out there that's a young student or at any age can accomplish this with, you know, that drive and that passion to succeed, and then be very proud at the end of their journey. Very proud of her.
The single mom who raised her 4 grandchildren on her own while going to school says all the struggles were worth it, and she's proud of her accomplishments.
Being a single parent, going to school, doing artclean and studying has taught me a lot of time management skills, resilience skills, and it has also taught me of why I am here today. You know, I am the voice of the people who are voiceless.
Mavis says she plans on specializing in criminal and family law.
My main goal is to ensure that justice is not denied to our people, and also to ensure that everyone who needs representation does get fair and adequate representation, and that they're heard by the courts.
Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
A First Nation in Western Manitoba is celebrating this week after a number of bison have returned after more than a century. These bison were released on Tuesday in the Birdtail Sioux Dakota Nation thanks to a donation from their neighbors of the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. A total of 11 bison were given to Birdtail, including a sacred white female calf. Many people from the community were very emotional and celebrated as the bison were released to a bison song. Birdtail Dakota Nation is located about 130 kilometers northwest of Brandon. We now want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, are you affected by the ongoing Canada Post strike? Your answers are yes or no. Have your say at www.aptnnews.ca. For more than 8 years, the family of Ashley Morin have been searching for their loved one who went missing in 2018 in North Battleford, Saskatchewan. We will speak with Ashley's sister when we come back. Starting on the east, St. John 0, Charlottetown -3. Happy Valley, Goose Bay -14, Cartwright -9. Quebec City -3, Gaspé -6, and sun. -1 in Toronto with snow, Sarnia -2. Sioux Lookout -11, Thunder Bay -5. -15 in Churchill, Thompson -18. -14 in Dauphin, sunny in Princess Harbour at -17. Estevan -16, Saskatoon -21. -29 in Stony Rapids, Buffalo Narrows -21. Over in the west, high level -17, Peace River -9. Calgary 8, Red Deer -1. Tofino 9, Campbell River 7. -2 in Dees Lake, Fort Nelson -12. -20 in Old Crow, Rock River -5. Norman Wells -7, Wrigley -12. Tuktoyaktuk -18, Inuvik -18. Baker Lake -31, Whale Cove -28. And Iqaluit -13, Clyde River -17. It has been more than 6 years since Ashley Morin went missing from North Battleford, Saskatchewan. Morin's family hasn't given up hope and continues to ask for the public's help in finding her. Ashley Morin, who is from the Atakakuk First Nation, was reported missing on July 10th of 2018. Last July, her family and friends marked the 6th anniversary of her disappearance with an awareness walk from the Gold Eagle Casino to the local library. RCMP believe Morin was a victim of a homicide, but there have been no arrests and no charges laid. In 2019, police released a photo of a two-tone van with no rear windows they believe is connected to Morin's disappearance. They are still wanting to speak with the driver of that vehicle and continue to ask the public to send in tips regarding that van. Also, a $30,000 reward for information leading to Morin's whereabouts still stands. Janine Morin, the sister of Ashley Morin, spoke with us recently from North Battleford. Janine, thank you for speaking with us. First off, can you tell us about the day your sister Ashley went missing and where she was going?
Well, my sister was last seen July 10th, 2018. Now, I'm not sure where she was going, but the bag that she had always carried was found on 96th Street of 15th Avenue, which is by John Paul. A bystander found it, picked it up, and taken it to the RCMP. Now, as for how long the time between then and the day that I had reported her was July 22nd of 2018.
It was probably very concerning to find this bag out on the street somewhere, hey?
Yes, definitely.
What is the latest information you have from the RCMP on this investigation that you're able to tell us?
Well, the latest information is really not much they can say. Due to the fact that it's still an active case, that they can't really tell us much. It's just that they have been doing a lot of interviews.
Still to this day, they're still doing a lot of interviews.
A lot of interviews. They're backtracking and making sure that they haven't forgotten anything.
What are you able to tell us about this two-tone van RCMP shared 1 year after Ashley went missing?
It was a shock to our family when we first got noted that this van was even involved. When the information was released, we knew nothing about it. It was just a major shock. Like we didn't even know that was a van in play. And it was released 1 year later, so it kind of left us in the dark.
Can you tell us what kind of person your sister Ashley was?
She was the most caring and loving woman, honestly. To have her in your life was a pleasure. She is very athletic, very family oriented. She would be the one that would give her shirt off the back, you know, if you needed it.
What is your message to the public in finding your sister, and also your message to the police?
My message to the public, please speak up. If you know anything, in any regards, you may think it's nothing, but it may be something to us. There's a $30,000 reward for the information on her whereabouts. She's loved. Our family's waiting to bring her home, whatever that may look like. We just want to bring her home.
Janine, we thank you for your time, and we wish you all the best on this continued search for Ashley Morin.
Thank you very, very much for having me.
And that's your daytime newscast for this Wednesday, December 4th. We're back again in a few hours with brand new stories from our reporters who are working on them right now. From everyone at APTN National News, hi miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next day.